The weather outside is frightful, and my couch is so delightful. So we sat down to have a laugh, and turned on Please Don't Destroy the Treasure at Foggy Mountain. It's a musical comedy that follows a trio of friends going on a treasure hunt in the mountains and facing hardships along the way. The film was written by and stars Martin Hurley, John Higgins, and Ben Marshall as the trio of friends and was directed by Paul Briganti. The story is a 4-part journey that takes place in a rural town in America. It follows the perspective of the 3 friends, Ben, Martin, and John. We're introduced to them, their problems, and their mediocre lives. Then John, who's feeling left out, discovers a map of the treasure on Foggy Mountain and devises a plan to find the treasure and rekindle his friendship with Martin and Ben. They go on the journey, make a bunch of enemies along the way, and find the treasure a lot more easily than they imagined. Getting the treasure off the mountain turns out to be a more monumental task, and the trio soon finds their friendship tested by the other groups looking for the treasure as well as their own greed. It culminates in a big final act that pops off in a ridiculous way. The whole story is sketch comedy with a bit of emotion attached underneath to help motivate you through the adventure. The characters are juvenile adults with a bit of charm, and the people they meet are kooky weirdos with big personalities. The visual journey follows the trio around on their quest and takes place in 2 major locations. Indoors in the store Ben's father owns, and outside on Foggy Mountain. The store is your average box store that sells sporting goods. On Foggy Mountain, we see them run through the trees, attend a cult festival in the woods, and explore a dusty old tomb. There are a lot of visual jokes and references throughout the film, and a little bit of CGI is used to make the hawk and starved bear. Sound-wise, the film employs a plethora of different original songs from every genre known to man. There's rap, rock and roll, club music, etc. They use it to build the atmosphere, punctuate jokes, and support the emotional journey. There are also individual performances from the actors during the film in small comedy songs and sing-songy moments. The music often pushes the story forward and has a fairly large impact on the film. Cast-wise, most of the screen time is spent with the 3 leads interacting with the large personalities of the general cast and playing off of each other when they're alone. The cast tends to be playing characters in a sketch comedy. This means they're either a normal person acting as a reaction board for a joke or a comedian trying to make one. The actual emotions are overplayed and always undercut by a joke. The 3 main characters are Ben, Martin, and John. John is a juvenile dick that likes to sing and is feeling left behind as his friends grow up. He works at his friend's sporting goods store, lives with his friends, and doesn't have a girlfriend. He's a sad man without much going on. Ben is the son of a store owner and yearns for his father's affection. His father is an abusive man without much emotion in him, but Ben still desperately craves his attention and will do anything to get it. Martin is dating a Christian woman and hiding his true identity as a frat bro Giga Chad. He does everything possible to convince himself that this is what he wants, but even he can't stomach the hydrated dates his girlfriend gives him for lunch. So how does it do as a film? Half of the film feels like a long sketch. The emotions are stunted, they turn everything into a joke, and they often beat the joke to death inside of the scene. The other half feels like a really cheesy kids' adventure film with dick jokes. There are cliches everywhere, the characters act like children in adults' bodies, and even a lot of the humor is childish and crass. They don't balance the leads well to make them likable, and all 3 end up being somewhat off-putting and hard to root for. There is a lot of good humor to laugh at throughout the film, but it's one of the only saving graces of the writing. The story is boring, the emotions are stunted, and the characters aren't memorable. Even the humor is limited to a single style. Visually, you have a lot of great gags and humorous references on top of a mediocre to bad journey. The sets and locations it takes place in are rather basic. They often fail to use a tripod or light the scene properly, and the CGI use looks incredibly cheap. That said, there are some great standout moments in the form of visual gags and references, and there are a few dramatic moments that actually looked fairly impressive. One that stands out in my mind is during the cult festival. They're planning a bonfire to burn the treasure, and the way they set it up has a captivating aesthetic to it. Sound-wise, the film uses music to bridge a lot of gaps and bring out a good chunk of emotion that just isn't present otherwise. The music is often catchy, well-timed, and really seems to understand the emotion they're going for. The individual singing that the characters do adds a lot of depth to their personalities and makes them a lot more likable too. Overall, Please Don't Destroy the Treasure on Foggy Mountain is a mediocre one-note comedy film. It has some cool executions now and again, but in general the acting is quite stiff and the writing is very stunted. If you like this style of humor, you'll probably laugh quite a bit, but for everyone else there's nothing to get out of this film. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 4 out of 10. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Bye-bye.